Hello guys, this is Tarun from Testing Gyan. Now we understand what is Git. Now let us understand in this video how we can utilize its various features by using the popular Git commands. So let us start.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to throw me in the family. Credit cards and the scammers, getting no licks in the van. Legacies.
I'm going to cover these commands in this video. Okay, so I'm going to use the scenario where my project is present in my local system, that is my project files are present in my local system and my remote repo is not having anything as of now. Okay, so I'm going to use this scenario to explain these Git commands. Okay, there are mainly two scenarios. The first one is which I explained, like having the project in local system but there is nothing on the remote repo, that is in GitHub repos and Bitbucket repo, etc. Okay, and the second scenario is when your code base is already centralized in some Git repo like Bitbucket or GitHub, and then you can take the reference of that code into your local system, that is you can take the snapshot of that code into your local system. So I'm going to use the first scenario. So let us start. So in order to do that, I have logged into my GitHub account, so I will just create an empty repository here just to start with my Git integration. So I will say my repo. Okay, and I'm making this repo as public for now. You can make it private as well. Okay, so and I'm saying I'm not including any of the files. I'm just saying, simply saying create a blank repository, so it will create a repository for me, you can see. Okay, and this is my repository URL which I will be using in order to connect with my local code. Okay, I'm copying this code. Okay, and this is my local project where I'm having two files. Now let us start. So in order to start, I have already installed Git in my system, so I will say right click and git bash here. Okay, so as of now you can see there's nothing I have done specific to Git. I'm simply having two files in my system. Okay, so if I do the command git status, okay, so it will tell me what is the status of Git. So it is telling me like not a Git repository, that is the current location is not a Git repository at all. Okay, so in order to change my this current repository to a Git repository, first of all I have to start the command. This is the very first command which we have to do, which is git init. Okay, so you can see it is saying initialized empty Git repository. Okay, and you can see it has created a .git folder. So this is basically my local repo. Now after that I will check the status again. Now if you see what is the status now, what is the status of my Git, you can see it is saying there are two untracked files, file 1 and file 2. Okay, and currently my default branch is master. Okay, and there are no commits yet. So let us understand what are all these things, okay, one by one. So in order to commit my files, that is in order to commit my files to a remote repo, first of all I have to prepare a commit, and in order to do that I have to stage my files. Currently both of these files are unstaged, so in order to stage these files I will use the command git add. Then I can specify, either I can specify the file name, whatever the file I want to stage. Okay, so the first step in our git commands is staging the files. Whatever the files I want to commit, I have to first stage them. Okay, so I can either specify the file name directly, whichever file I want to stage. Okay, or I can simply say git add dot or the period, which will simply stage all the files which are currently untracked. So now if I check the git status, you can see it is saying there are two files which are ready to be commit, so they are removed from unstaged area to the staged area now. Okay, so I will say git, so in order to commit this file, to prepare a commit of these files so that I can push that commit to my remote repo, I will say git commit, then the -m, which is for my commit message, I will say my first commit. Okay, now if I do that, you can see I have created my first commit, and in my first commit I am having two files, and this is my commit ID, this one. Now my commit is ready. Now in order to push these changes, whatever the files which are present in my local system, and to keep send those files to some remote repository in GitHub, okay, what I have to do, I have to push these changes to the remote repo. But before that I have to tell that there is some remote repo, Okay, I have to add the reference of a remote repo basically. So in order to do that, what I will do, I will first of all copy my remote repo URL. Okay, and I will come back to git bash. There I will say git remote add, then the variable reference to that remote branch, I will say origin. Okay, and then the remote branch URL which I copied. Okay, so this way I have added the remote branch. Now I can push my commit to this remote repository. So in order to do that, what I will do, I will say git push -u. So this -u variable is basically referring to upstream. So its whole usage is like, if I use the -u, then I will specify, after this I will specify my remote branch variable reference. Okay, and then my current branch. Okay, my current local branch. So this -u, what it will do, once I do this, it will create a upstream reference, so that next time I don't have to push or pull my changes like this. I can simply write git push. Okay, it will create the tracking basically -u. If I'm not using -u, then every time I have to do git push, like git push origin master, that is my remote branch reference, and then my local branch reference. Okay, that way. Okay, so if I do this, so you can see it has pushed my changes. Okay, normally as soon as you type this git push command, you will be seen with the authentication prompt, but I'm not seeing that prompt because that authentication is already added in my Windows credentials manager. Okay, so if I go to my credential manager and see this, you can see this GitHub. Okay, and it is already having my credential details in it, so I'm not prompted with that authentication. So what for the very first time you will see authentication pop up where you have to enter your username and password, and then you will be good to go. For you also it will be saved in the Windows credential manager. Okay, so now my changes are pushed. Okay, there is if I go to my remote repo now, so if I check my remote repo now, you can see, if I refresh the URL, you can see my changes are being pushed to the remote repo. Now consider a scenario, one of your team member is also working on this project. Okay, and he or she committed their changes to this same code base. Okay, so in order to replicate that scenario, I will simply update one of the file here in the GitHub directly. Okay, so I will say edit test file 1 updated. Okay, and then I will say commit changes. Now you can see like my this file1 txt file is being updated. Okay, and my current code base in my local system, this file is still having the previous change. Okay, so in order to get the latest updates from the remote repository, there is command called git pull. Okay, so I will say git pull and then the remote repository URL. Basically I have to provide the URL of the remote repository. So I will copy that URL again, and then I will paste it here. Okay, so you can see it has pulled all the changes from the remote repository. Now if I see my file in the local system, so you can see it is having the latest change, which is this file 1 updated. Okay, so this was all about the basic commands. We have covered the commands git status, git add, git commit, git remote, git push, git pull. Okay, these are the commands which you are going to use a lot whenever you are working on Git. There are few other commands as well. For example, whenever I am committing my changes, there is some username and user email reference to my profile. Okay, I can change that reference according to my requirement. I can say git config and then the global tag, just indicating that I am updating this property globally, user dot name. Okay, and I'm saying Tarun Russia. Okay, similarly I can say git config global So this is basically making the configuration changes. Okay, I can say user.email, so whatever the commit I am going to do, use this email for that, and use this username reference for that. Okay, testing gyan.tg. Okay, so like this I can add the global configuration references. Okay, now the next command which I'm going to tell is one very important command, which is git tag. So what does git tag basically do? So if you see in the remote repo, I'm currently having 2 commits. Okay, and if I go to my remote repository, here you can see I'm having 0 tags. It is mentioning 0 tags. Okay, now consider the scenario. For example, you're working on a project, okay, and after some time you have made enough changes. You can consider that this particular change is my one release, that is one version of my application's code base. Okay, and I want to keep the tag to that particular commit or the code base. So in order to do that, what you will do, first of all you will add the git tag by saying git tag, and I will say this is my version 1.0 of my application. Okay, so now if I do git tag, it will list all the tags which are present here. Okay, you can see version 1.0, one tag is being created. After that I have to do git push origin, okay, tags. Okay, so this way my tag will be added to my current commit. Okay, and now if you see, if I refresh this URL, okay, you can see there is one tag, and if I click on this tag, it is having the track of this particular commit, and I am saying this is my version 1.0 of my application. So this way you can add the tags to your commits. Okay, basically you can keep the track of a particular commit, okay, using this approach. Okay, now the next very important command in the list is git branch. Okay, so as of now we are particularly working on a single branch. Okay, what we already know that git is a trunk based development. So in order to work with multiple branches, we are having some commands. Okay, so first command is to create the branch. Okay, I will say git, if I write git branch now, okay, you can see it is having only one branch, which is master branch, and this asterisk sign is indicating that currently I'm on that branch. Okay, now if I do git branch, then the branch name test branch maybe. Okay, so this way it created one more branch. So now if I do git branch, it will show me 2 branches, master and test branch. Okay, and currently asterisk sign is indicating that I am on master branch. Okay, so this is the command to create the branch. Now if I want to switch to some particular branch, what I have to do, I will git checkout, then the branch name, I will say test branch. Okay, so this way I switch to the test branch. Okay, now if I do git branch, okay, you can see asterisk sign is on the test branch. Now it is indicating that I am currently on the test branch. Now if I make any change here in my system, I will say I will create one more file, Control C, Control V. I will rename this file to test branch just to have the proper reference. Now if I do git status now, so it is saying one of the file is untracked. As I am having only one file, so I can use the git add and then the file name which is being modified, okay, or added. So you can see it is git add test branch. This particular file is staged now. I can prepare the commit, git commit -m, then I can say this is my branch check commit. Okay, so my commit is ready. Now I have to push this change to the remote repository. So this change will also be pushed to the another branch in the remote repository. So I will say git push -u for upstream reference, origin, my remote branch, remote repository reference, and then my remote, and then my local branch name which I want to push. branch. So you can see my changes are being pushed to the remote repository. So now if I go to my remote repository here, okay, you can see now I am having test branch had recent pushes, and I can see I am having 2 branches now. Okay, so this is my branch where I am having the test branch.txt, and this is my master branch where I am not having this file. Okay, even locally I can switch to the master branch now, like this: git checkout, same command we have to use in order to switch to another branch, then the master. Okay, now I'm switched to my master branch. Now if you see, that file is not visible here as well. Okay, if I do git checkout test branch, so you can see that particular file is present in this branch. So this way you can have the different branches in your git, and you can use this command to play between the different branches. Now the last command in the list is git diff, which is the difference command. This command basically tells the difference between the unstaged files, then the staged files, and then the difference between 2 branches. Now let us see how we can use this. Now first, in order to do that, I will make a change in some file so that I can have that file in the unstaged area. I will say new change. I'm just making a change in this file, and then I'm saving it. Okay, now if I go to git bash, and if I do git status here, you can see it is saying one file is modified, test branch.txt is modified. Now if I do git diff, okay, so you can see it is showing the difference between this files before staging and after staging. Okay, that is before change and after change. So before change it was till this is file 2, and after that the new changes are added in this file. Okay, so this is showing the difference. Now the next is, if I make this file as staged, git add dot, I staged the file. If I check the status now, you can see my file is ready for commit, that is this file is staged now. Now if I do git diff -- staged, okay, so you can see it will show the difference between the staged file and the file which is there in the remote repo, which is currently there in the repo. Okay, the file in the repo is having till this only, okay, and the new file is having this change. Okay, so this is the difference between the staged file and the file its last commit in the remote repo. Now if I do git diff, that is I can also compare 2 branches. I can also know the difference between 2 branches using the git diff. If I give the branch master and test branch, okay, so you can see it is showing me that in test branch I am having this file test branch.txt, which is having this content in it. So this is the only difference between master and the test branch. Okay, so this way you can use the difference command to know the difference between the multiple branches, difference between the staged files and the last commit, okay, and difference between the unstaged files, that is before and after the change. So this was all about the commands, these basic commands. I hope you guys are able to understand. In case you have any questions, please let us know over the video comments. Thank you.